How you doing? I'm Carlos Miranda, and I am on FrConventions. Yeah, it was a while ago, but I remember it was, I think my first scene was, it was something outside, there was a car and we had to get into it, and it was Jay and I we were working together for the first time. I was subbing on 19, and we went out on a job together, and that was my first experience working with like medical stuff, you know. And they give you a little bit of like a kind of tutorial, should I say, right? Like of how you're supposed to handle everything. But there was wind blowing, and I'm supposed to be putting on like, this some sheet outfit over my stuff and putting on the gloves and and I gotta look like I know what I'm doing, right? Because I'm a lieutenant and I'm a legacy firefighter, but the wind is blowing and all this. I'm like, God damn, I don't know. So there was that, but it all worked out. It ended up being fine, but that was my first experience with that. And I told Jay when I saw him, I was like, oh man, nice to meet you and everything. But when I first started out in Hollywood, I was auditioning for a lot of commercials, and I would always see him at my commercial auditions, and he would get jobs where I would see the commercials. So I'd go to the auditions and then see him and think like, well, I'm not going to get it because he's going to get this job. So years later, it was just a really cool full circle moment of like, dude, we used to audition for commercials together, and here we are on the same TV show, not let alone like storylines that are with each other, and he's since become one of my best pals. So I think he carried that with him for a very, very long time, and he probably did forgive himself, but feelings probably resurged when he reconnected with Travis, is what I would think, is how I felt. But I think ultimately, he kind of, I wouldn't say make peace, because it's a hard thing to carry, but like he found a way to kind of like, I gotta keep moving forward for it, them, for him. That's tough, I think it gradually happened when he saw and became more accepting of seeing that Theo cared for Vic. Vic was, Vic, he loves Vic, right? So when he saw her, if he saw her happy and Theo's intentions were honest, and he knows Theo, like the truth, right? Like he knows who he is. I think in that, and just kind of, it's a built trust that's kind of regaining, but I think through that he found a way to forgive him. That's a good question. Because I think they're kind of two pretty different personalities, right? I think maybe Vic saw a little bit of herself in Theo. Like they were like, oh, I think Ripley and her were Ripley was very like, I think, right, like more man, like her man, right, like it was a serious, like he was gonna, and I think with Theo and Vic was a more of an equals vibe, you know what I mean? So maybe that, and just just serendipity, how they kept running into each other, and it's just like, I don't know. That's a good question though. I probably got to think about that one a little more. Yeah, I love Barrett. Like when I got the job by taping with Barrett on Zoom. We FaceTimed. It was just very like, hey, nice to meet you. Got kind of got to know each other a little bit, did the scenes, and it was just like, all right, nice to see you. And then So it was very. I went into it like, "Whoa, what's up?" You know, it was great. I said this a few times today, but I like their abortion story. That I felt would have been great to kind of explore a little more the aftermath of that. I guess, you know, it was that like, also there's just a lot of storylines that kind of didn't get fully developed that I wish would have, like that. Also, Theo's his goals of trying to become an inspector, you know, that the stuff with his family and the fight in the neighborhood. There's a lot of things that I'm like, oh man, there was so much more story that I wish we could have delved into a little more. But I think the abortion stuff, and I didn't like when he was becoming a jerk, because I felt it just seemed so out of character, a lot of things that were happening that we didn't get to explain why that happened, you know? So that stuff was like, you know, kind of like, it just doesn't seem like what I've been playing, you know, so stuff like that was challenging. Yeah, you know, I just, it was that was disappointing, but, and then they had to wrap everything up really fast, you know what I mean, so it was just, we didn't just get the chance to kind of, you know, just kind of shed light on what demons he was dealing with and how, you know, because I know they still loved each other at the end, you know what I mean? But she was also in a different, like, trying to figure herself out, and yeah, I don't know. I think so. I mean, this is me being hopeful thinking, you know, but I think they would. I think they would have found their way back to each other at some point. You know what I mean? Through, you know, I mean, they have shared trauma. They have, you know, their whole life is everything. It's the same. You know, this. It's Jay's character. What was Jay's character's name? I forgot his name. Travis, freaking Travis Montgomery. You know, so it's like they have their shared relationship with him. You know, I mean, again, the abortion thing, I'm like, that's a big deal that you go through with somebody, to just kind of like, you share that forever, and it's like, that's a loss that you guys, you know, have gone through together. So, yeah, I think they would have came back together. That's how I would have wrote it. As you said, it's bittersweet, you know, because, you know, it's disappointing because we didn't get to even finish a whole full season. You know, our season even got cut short, and again, there was stories that's like, oh, that we were kind of looking forward to that didn't get a chance to happen, and you get a little comfortable and used to thinking like, I'm gonna see you guys next season. You know, it's like going to school, right? You know, you expect like, I'll see you next year, and so it was a bummer for it to get cut short. But the support from the fans and everybody is always like really inspiring and motivating, and the truth is, you know, we're actors. You know, this is our job, right? So we're gonna keep looking for new job. We're gonna keep trying to audition, and everybody's still doing the same thing, trying to get another job, and you know, eventually you'll see us pop up on something, and you know, as long as 19 lives on, and you know, you support us on the next thing, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I hope that answers that question.